I was that kid that grew up in a Baptist church in Freona. And some people talk about these churches that get focused on hellfire and brimstone. And they talk about, well, that's a little much. It wasn't for me. I needed it real bad. And we wound up at revivals when I was probably 12 or so. I was the kid that would go down once a night for 4 nights in a row, just to make sure it took. After I got out of college at the ripe old age of 21, I went to work with Dad. And the very first thing he had me do was go down and get involved in the Amarillo Chamber of Commerce and a couple of other things. And he said, this is what we do. We have to be part of the community. And my dad told me that, and he meant it. And then as I grew in my involvement and my faith structure in Christianity and the church, I felt the same way. But I think what I put on it is more, it's almost like you look back at these role models you had. And I think that the word Barnabas comes to mind a lot. They're the people that were there for me. The junior high coach that taught the young boys Sunday school class, that set the example, the missionary in Espanola, New Mexico, that was my dad's cousin. When I was 14 years old, working at his mission in the summers, just the examples that they were of what you do. This is what you do. The man in Abilene who said, my family doesn't give 10% of its money. My family gives 10% of its money. My family gives 10% of its time to the church. That's stewardship, and he believed it and they lived it. I think that I've received a couple, 3 really large messages in my life. Grace. And understanding what grace meant, and understanding what forgiveness meant. And I finally realized that my God was big enough to forgive me. And I was around people that had a lot of grace, and they showed it to me at a young age. A lot of that came from my wife's family. And so I understood that others could forgive me. And those others were Christians. And then over the years, I did a lot of things that required forgiveness, as a lot of people do. And I then, through prayer and I guess just sanctification, growing in my Christianity, I realized that God had enough grace for me too. So first I learned it from some Christians, and then I realized that it was also God forgiving me and God having grace for me. But the last one that's taken me until late in my life was the one about accepting that God made me so good and loved me so much that I could show grace to myself and that I could forgive myself for what I've done wrong. I always believed I was called to be a person that did more, but I never knew what that meant. But I decided a long time ago that I had to put myself in the arena. And sometimes I'd know where that was going and sometimes I wouldn't.